Assalamu alaikum, YouTube. How y'all ninjas doing? We're going to talk today about Andrew Tate, who is once again in hot water. Surprise! But first, before we begin, coffee. Bismillah. Outstanding. Strong stuff. I like it black and dark. Don't like a whole lot of milk or sugar in there. Woo! That's strong. That's strong. Anyways, so Andrew Tate got in a lot of trouble recently because, in case you've been living under a rock, the UK is on fire and on the verge of what some people would call a civil war. Basically, 20, 30 years of running around the Middle East and causing a bunch of wars overseas and being America's lackey, and then another 10, 20, 30 plus years of largely unfettered immigration into the UK, plus much of that being illegal, has created some resentment for a lot of folks. And it's reached a boiling point. And of course, your favorite people, some of the orange Jews, have gotten involved, as usual, and they are using it to their advantage. Interesting that the Keir Starmer government takes over. It says, no more weapons to Israel. We're not going to enable Yell's genocide anymore. What happens soon after? Huh. Well, Tommy Robinson, a.k.a. the UK's Ray Epstein, and his boys decide to go riot. Start a fight. And do and complain about what they've been complaining about for this whole freaking time. Oh, all these brown people running around the UK, smashing and grabbing and raping and pillaging and all this stuff. Well, that's what they're doing today themselves. Huh. Wonder why that is. So Andrew Tate commented on X, basically saying that what's happening to the people in the UK is unfair, and it's just as unfair as what's happening to the people of Gaza, Palestine writ large. Putting aside for a second the fact that the situation in Gaza and Palestine is far more dire, he has a point. A lot of people have gotten mad at Andrew Tate once again and accused him of being a kafir, a grifter, not a real Muslim, abandoning Islam, blah, 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 blah. Now, listen. You can argue about the way he said it, and I might not agree with everything he said in his interview with Katie Hopkins, but I want to point out Mohammed Hijab had all kinds of interviews with Jordan Peterson. Muslims throughout the centuries have had adult sit-down conversations with people they didn't like. Because if you are a Muslim and you are trying to give dawah, you want to engage with people even if they don't like you. As much as possible. I mean, some people are just a lost cause, but I personally do not understand why people are so angry at Andrew for simply sitting down with Katie Hopkins. This is my personal opinion. It does not reflect the views and opinions of everybody at the Mad Mamlukes podcast, but this does reflect my own personal views. So I want to clarify that. Andrew Tate, and I have said this myself for quite some time. I've been trying to explain this to Muslims who are immigrants to the UK, the US, and the West writ large, that the powers that be are using you guys against native white Western people, just as people like me were used against y'all when they sent us overseas to fight in Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, wherever. It's the same political, financial establishment making money by burning both ends of the candle at the same time. They like doing what they do. They really do. And they don't care about you, and they don't care about me. Oh, and by the way, in case you're still confused, do you know what one of the number one ways they get people like me recruited into the military? They say, hey, we got free college and free healthcare. Did some of you come to the West for free college and free healthcare? Yeah, you did. And I'm not hating on you either. You're told to look down on rednecks like me, as we were told to look down on Hajis like you. I'm not mad at you, because you're just me 15, 60 years ago. Can't hate you for doing the exact same thing I did. I don't. And I think it's important to note that there's a huge difference between lawful immigration with quality applicants to bring good things to the society, that some degree of diversity is very good, actually, and that if it's done in a controlled and steady way, it can be very beneficial for all parties involved. You know, Qatar, for example, the UAE, they have lots of people who immigrate there. They don't always stay all the time, but they immigrate there. They make their money, which benefits the people in the UAE. They do the work, benefits the people in Qatar, and then it benefits the people who came and worked, and then they go home, and some of them stay if they have enough money or a good reason to stay, whatever the reason is. Immigration's not a bad thing at all. I think immigration is good. I am living as an expat overseas here in Indonesia. In fact, this is our new apartment. I'm not going to give you a tour because I don't want the Zionists to see where I live exactly. They'll figure out, but I want to keep them guessing for a while. It's part of the game. Anyways, if you haven't done so already, please go ahead and follow me on X at Mr. Harry198. Thank you. And please subscribe to the channel, the Mad Mamlukes. We are shadow banned. Surprise! We're shadow banned. So we need all the help we can get, gentlemen and ladies, Habibs and Habibatis. We need all the help we can get. I'll talk for a second about reverts and worshiping white people versus expecting the very worst for them. They're really two sides of the same coin. What do I mean by that? People like Andrew Tate, Sneako, myself, although I am a little bit ahead of these gentlemen by a few years, we're on a journey. You know, Andrew Tate, before he became Muslim, he was into Romanian Eastern Orthodox Christianity. I was into Eastern Orthodox Christianity before I came to Islam. There are a lot of similarities. If I were to be asked, you know, which branch of Christianity is the closest to Islam, it's the Eastern Orthodox Church by far. Hands down. Like, it's not even close. The Protestants aren't as close to us as the Eastern Orthodox Christians. In fact, I asked my wife this, my Indonesian wife this. There are Indonesian Muslim scholars here on this beloved, wonderful archipelago who will tell you that if you are a Muslim man and you wish to marry a Christian woman, you should not marry a Protestant woman. You should marry an Eastern Orthodox woman if you're going to be a Muslim man who marries a Christian woman. There's a reason for that. And if I was going to marry a Christian woman as a second or third wife, I would probably marry an Eastern Orthodox woman too. I wouldn't feel comfortable with a Protestant woman from Mississippi who thinks Bibi Netanyahu is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't think that relationship would work very well. No, it wouldn't. Anywho, going back to Andrew Tate, Cobra Tate. Listen, I sympathize with Andrew Tate constantly getting in hot water because before my Shahada, during my Shahada, and after my Shahada, every single mistake that Sneako, Andrew, other popular Muslim reverts on YouTube have made or currently making, I have made myself to some degree or another. If you look at some of the things I said 5 years ago, 6 years ago, you'd be like, oh my God, did Harry really say that? What an idiot. He's so disrespectful. Well, I didn't mean to be disrespectful or nasty, or stupid, or I didn't mean to cause trouble. But I make mistakes myself. Listen, Andrew Tate, he's a wild dude with a wild past. Sneako, he's a wild dude with a wild past. I'm a wild dude with a wild past. We are not sheikhs. We sure as hell ain't scholars. And all three of us will tell you that exactly. In the case of Andrew and Sneako, they were already influencers before they became Moose Plus Lambs. Okay? So they're already publicly sharing everything about their life that needs to be shared, that they want to share. It is part of Allah's plan, I believe, to bring Islam to these influencers. And in the case of Sneako, he's had some good, positive influence and guidance. Brother Andrew is kind of stuck in Romania on house arrest with his brother, who's still a Catholic. Not saying anything against Tristan. Tristan's a great dude, I'm sure. But when you become Muslim, and this is why I'm here in Indonesia, there's a reason why I do what I do. When you become Muslim, you can either stay and anchor yourself to a Muslim community if you have that available to you, or you're expected to go to a Muslim land and periodically come back and give dawah if you can, if you feel called to do so. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that. It's because swimming in the ocean alone with the sharks is not a wise or prudent decision. We have communities and brotherhood in Islam for a reason. I'm going to push back on some Muslim commentators who have said either that Andrew Tate is a straight up grifter and Sneako is a grifter, or that conversely, I've heard people like Maliki Click suggest that only people who are sheikhs and scholars, as new revert, only people who are sheikhs and scholars of Islam should be on YouTube, Facebook, social media, whatever, doing their thing. For the rest of us, we need to learn our religion, go away, and come back. I think people like Maliki Click have a point. If you're new to Islam and you want to operate at the level of a sheikh or a scholar, you should go away and become a sheikh or a scholar and then come back. And then you can be on YouTube as a sheikh or a scholar. That's a fair point. I would agree with that. I think Brother Maliki Click is correct. He's absolutely correct on that. But if you actually thought that Andrew Tate or Sneako, or myself for that matter, are sheikhs and scholars, well, that's on you. It's not on me. I have repeatedly told people from day one, I am not a sheikh. I am not a scholar. At best, maybe a student of knowledge, depending on whose definition of what a student of knowledge is. who you ask which definition, maybe, it's kind of not really, though. Rather than viewing us as experts on the religion, which we are not, look at us as a frame of reference. Look at us as a journey unfolding. I fully expect that my opinions on things will change in 5 years on many issues within Islam. If they don't change at all, well, did I actually learn? Was I actually trying to grow or develop in any way, shape, or form? 5 years ago when I started praying Salah, I didn't pray in Arabic. I didn't know enough Arabic to pray. So it took me time to learn Surah Al-Fatiha, which, for the record, when you're a brain-damaged redneck like I am, and you now pushing 37, you turned 38 in October, it gets harder to learn and memorize things as you get old. I don't know if you haven't figured that out. Some of you young whippersnappers in the comments section, you'll figure that out eventually. Trust me, you'll get there if you haven't. I am much better now. But sometimes, even 5 years later, I will recite Surah Al-Fatiha for someone, and they will say to me, that's not how you pronounce that one part. This is how you say this part. I go, okay, thank you for showing that to me. And I do my best to make that improvement. Andrew Tate recently going to church with his brother was the wrong thing to do. But it's hard to let go of that when your closest brother is still a practicing Catholic. It's hard to let go of that, especially if you are married still to a Christian woman and you have Christian children with her, and then you become Muslim halfway through this marriage. I understand why Andrew Tate went to that church to support his brother. I don't think he was going there with the intention to actually worship Jesus in the Christian sense and commit shirk. I don't think that's what he was trying to do. I will give him the benefit of the doubt. Similarly, when, Sneako said, Christ is king, I don't think he was saying that because he is confused and going back to saying Jesus is God again. I think he was saying that in support of Candace Owens, who was calling out the disrespect that certain Zionist orange juice have for Jesus, Prophet Isa, peace be upon him. That is how I read it. 5 years ago, I used to believe that as a Muslim, I would still be able to celebrate Christmas. 5 years ago, when I first took my Shahada, I thought I could still celebrate Christmas. Not by going to church, but by celebrating Christmas. By saying, hey, it's the birth of Prophet Isa, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yeah, I could still celebrate this, right? And then I looked into it, read about it, and talked to people, and it's like, no, actually, you really can't do that. So I don't celebrate Christmas anymore. Not even Muslim version of Christmas. I don't celebrate it. I will still tell my Christian friends and family back home, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays. Not because I'm endorsing that, and I'll even qualify it for them. Hey, look, I'm not endorsing or qualifying. I'm not endorsing Christianity. I'm not, I don't believe that Jesus is God anymore. But I want you guys to enjoy your holiday, and I'm just sending you the happy seasonal end of the year greetings. I will tell them that. And, Most Muslims would say I'm wrong for saying that. A few Muslims that I've talked to, a few sheikhs, have said, no, it's fine as long as you're not specifically endorsing that. Well, as time goes on, especially as Christianity continues to decline in the West, and especially as I grow and develop in Islam more and more, I probably won't say Merry Christmas even with the qualifier. I probably won't say it at all. Because one way or another, the traditional Christian celebration is going away. At best, it's going to be, and it already is this in many parts of the United States, Christmas is a secular holiday. It has little or nothing to do with the actual original Christian religion. It's a day to put up pretty trees with pretty lights and drink hot chocolate and coffee in the cold weather. Lots of atheists celebrate Christmas. They don't celebrate Christmas. They just put up trees and drink. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Enjoy your time. Do not worship white people. Don't worship white people. We're not your white saviors who are here to save you. Because that's edging towards shirk. That is edging towards shirk. Worshiping white people and expecting us to give the religion for you, to save you from yourselves. I'm not here to save you. Only Allah can help you. Might give you some insight along the way, but I am no sheikh and I am no scholar. And even the wisest and greatest of sheikhs and scholars cannot save you. You have to do your own work as well. You got to row your own boat too. I still have hope for Brother Andrew that he will be on the right path in the future. I don't think he's sliding, and I don't think he's Jordan Peterson. And I don't think he's a grifter. You might say, well, he just wants money and power and fame and sex and beautiful women. And I'm like, don't we all? Name for me a single human being that doesn't want sex, money, fame, power, whatever. Allah in the Quran does not say that we can't have money and power or that we can't enjoy sex. He says you have to do things in a halal way with rules and restrictions. And Brother Andrew, inshallah, will eventually figure it out. I personally see him changing. Don't get caught up in this whole civil war, white people versus brown people. And don't worship white people. And don't hate us either. Everywhere that Islam went over the centuries, they always tried to give dawah to the locals. Some of you are trying to carry on this like ancient East versus West conflict that goes back to like the Romans and Persians. And rather than coming into the Western world and giving dawah and bringing opportunity and light, some of you just want to conquest and ethnically cleanse yourselves. I've had to block at least one, and I very rarely block people for having differences of opinion on anything. Very rarely, but I've had to block a couple people on X recently who were hell-bent on saying, well, I hope white people get removed from Europe and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, congratulations. You're no different than some of the people I went to Iraq with who wanted to kill all the Muslims and take their oil. You're not any different. You're the same person with a different skin tone and a different religion, but you are the same person fundamentally. And it's not marching in the spirit of Allah. That's not what you're marching in the spirit of. So if you want to get emotional and passionate and foolish, and you want to get orchestrated into a collective hate fest against white people, understand here, you are playing right into the hands of the Zionists. I guarantee you Tommy Robinson is an agent. I guarantee you he has some connection to Mossad. I can guarantee that. Don't hate us and don't worship us. Instead, treat us as your Muslim brothers who are on a journey. And that's it. I really don't have a whole lot else to say. Don't be dumb. Don't be foolish like I was. And don't be foolish like some of these people on the streets are. And don't get sucked into anything stupid. Jazakallah khair. Y'all have a great day. Bye-bye.